tonight we're diving deep into the rise and fall of Team Rocket's secret empire. For those of you who've been joining us consistently, I want to thank you for being such an integral part of our channel. If you're falling asleep with us tonight, let me know in the comments how many nights in a row you've been here. And if this is your first night, just comment day 1. Now let's get back to the video. In the quiet shadows of the Kanto region, beneath the neon lights of Celadon City and the quiet suburban peace of Pallet Town, a darkness once grew in absolute silence. It is a name that every trainer knows, a name that carries the weight of stolen dreams and broken spirits. Team Rocket. To the casual observer, they were a syndicate of thieves, a disorganized group of grunts in black uniforms who were eventually dismantled by a young hero. But the truth is far more ancient, far more complex, and infinitely more tragic than the history books of the Indigo League would ever dare to admit. To understand the fall of the secret empire, we must first understand that Team Rocket was never supposed to be a villain. Imagine a world over a century ago, where the bond between human and Pokémon was still being forged in the fires of necessity and survival. In the year 1905, in a place known as Cosmo Point, the first seeds of this organization were planted not by criminals, but by protectors. It was a union of humans and the mysterious Lunari, a coalition born from a desperate need to shield the innocent from those who would use Pokémon as weapons of war. They called themselves a rocket because they believed that with enough momentum, they could shatter any threat speeding toward the helpless. For 40 years, they were the golden standard of justice, a beacon of hope that eventually became so beloved it inspired the stories we still tell today. But power is a fragile thing, and legacy is often written in disappearing ink. The story of Team Rocket is a story of institutional rot, a slow decaying orbit that saw a noble shield transform into a jagged sword. It is the story of Madame Boss, a woman who looked at the majesty of the natural world and saw only a ledger of profit and loss. It is the story of Giovanni, a man who took that greed and refined it into a cold, calculated ambition for total world domination. Under his hand, the organization didn't just steal Pokémon. They tried to rewrite the very laws of nature. They conducted experiments that pushed the boundaries of life and death, seeking to force evolution through artificial means and harvesting the power of legends to fuel a machine of conquest. We remember the battles at the Sylph Company and the takeover of the Goldenrod radio tower. But those were merely the symptoms of a much deeper sickness. Even when their leader vanished into the shadows of defeat, the Empire refused to die. It lingered like a ghost in the Johto woods, waiting for a signal that might never come, proving that an idea, once corrupted, is nearly impossible to kill. Tonight, we're going to peel back the layers of this shadow empire. We will trace the lineage from the honourable founders of 1905 to the desperate executives clinging to power in the wake of Giovanni's disappearance. We will explore the chilling technological advancements that allowed them to manipulate the very essence of Pokémon biology, and we will look into the terrifying possibility of the Multiverse, where a version of this empire actually succeeded in extinguishing the light of every world it touched. Why does the legacy of the red letter R continue to haunt the Pokémon world? How did a force for good become the ultimate symbol of exploitation? And what happens to the soul of a region when its greatest protectors become its most feared predators? This is not just a history of battles and gym badges. This is the definitive chronicle of an empire built on hope, sustained by greed and eventually consumed by its own shadow. Close your eyes, let the sounds of the Kanto night settle around you, and prepare to enter the hidden history of the rise and fall of Team Rocket. The air in the Viridian Gym is always heavy, thick with the scent of damp earth and the unspoken pressure of a man who commands both the respect of the League and the fear of the underworld. Most trainers see Giovanni as the final hurdle before the Elite Four, a master of ground types who demands perfection. But if you look closer at the architecture of his reign, you see the blueprint of a global shadow government. The transition from the era of Madame Boss to the era of Giovanni marked a shift from simple black market poaching to a sophisticated, corporate form of villainy. While it wasn't just about snatching a Pikachu from a novice trainer anymore, it was about the systematic acquisition of resources, the infiltration of key infrastructure, and the pursuit of the ultimate biological weapon. When we talk about the stakes of Team Rocket's existence, we are talking about the soul of the relationship between humans and Pokémon. If they had succeeded, the concept of a partner would have been erased, replaced entirely by the concept of a tool. This is why their story matters. It serves as a permanent warning of what happens when the pursuit of power outweighs the sanctity of life. As we journey through the decades of their operation, we will encounter the faces of those who stayed and those who fled. We will look at the internal schisms that nearly tore the group apart before Red ever set foot in their hideout. We will examine the haunting radio frequencies of the Lake of Rage, where the screams of forced evolution echoed across the water, and we will analyse the strange persistence of a specific trio of operatives who, despite their constant failures, represent the undying nature of the organisation's reach. From the snowy peaks of Sinnoh to the tropical reaches of Alola, the shadow of the rocket has been cast far and wide. But the most intriguing mystery lies in the silence. What was Giovanni truly searching for in those final moments before he disbanded the group? Was it a realization of his own failure? Or was it the first step in a much larger, much darker plan that spans across dimensions? The answers are buried deep in the archives of a history that was meant to be forgotten. Tonight, we bring those secrets into the light. The Empire may have fallen, but its echoes are still vibrating through the tall grass of every route in the world. Let us begin the journey back to where it all started, in the dawn of an era that promised protection but delivered a nightmare. Deep in the underbelly of Kanto, where the neon glow of Celadon City fades into shadowed warehouses, Team Rocket whispers their unbreakable vow. Steal Pokémon for profit, exploit Pokémon for profit. All Pokémon exist for the glory of Team Rocket. You can almost hear it echoing off cold concrete walls, recited by fresh recruits, under flickering fluorescent lights, their eyes gleaming with ruthless ambition. This isn't just a motto, it's a creed etched into the soul of every grunt, every executive, binding them to a philosophy that views every creature as mere currency, every bond between trainer and Pokémon as a weakness to shatter. Picture the life of a wild Pidgey, soaring freely over Viridian Forest until a net drops from the canopy, yanking it into a cage rattling with others just like it. Team Rocket doesn't train, they harvest. Rare specimens like Cubona or the elusive Dratini vanish from their habitats overnight, funneled into black market auctions where shady bidders from across the region pay fortunes. You feel the chill in the air of those hidden dealings, the sense of damp earth from smuggled Tauros herds, the low hum of generators powering cryogenic chambers for preserving exotic eggs. Profit isn't a goal, it's the air they breathe, turning Kanto's vibrant wilds into depleted veins, stripped bare for the syndicate's coffers. And it's not just theft that fuels their machine. In sterile labs buried beneath Saffron City, scientists in crisp white coats, loyal to the R emblem, probe the limits of Pokémon endurance. Forced evolutions rip through bodies too young, potions bubbling like venom, as Kadabra emerge twisted from Abra shells, their minds fractured from the agony. You hear the muffled cries echoing down corridors, the sizzle of electrodes testing pain thresholds on captured Elekkids, all in pursuit of weapons to sell or deploy. Death isn't a deterrent, it's a data point, logged coldly as they push boundaries no ethical trainer would dare. This exploitation seeps into every sale, every experiment yielding tech black marketeers crave, from counterfeit megastones to obedience collars that crush free will. Kanto's economy bends under their weight. You see it in the everyday. Sylph Company. Bofai's gleaming towers in Saffron stand tall, but whispers among executives reveal kickbacks flowing to rocket safe houses, ensuring their gadgets reach the right hands. Gambling dens in Celadon. Rigged slots spitting out prizes laced with obedience drugs. Funnel winnings upward. Even legitimate breeders feel the squeeze. Stock plummets when prized breeders mysteriously lose their stock to wild raids, only for those Pokémon to resurface weeks later, rebranded and triple-priced on Rocket's underground circuit. The region thrives on the surface, with bustling routes and cheerful gym badges, but peel back the layer, and you'll find the Syndicate's tentacles coiled around shipping lanes from Vermilion Port, controlling the flow of rare candies and TMs like a mafia taxing protection. The underworld bows deeper still, as street gangs in the back alleys of Fuchsia City dissolve or swear fealty when Rocket enforcers roll up in tinted vans. Machoke at their sides cracking knuckles like thunder. Turf wars end before they start. A nod from a Rocket elite, and rivals vanish, their operations absorbed. You catch the tension in dive bars near the Rocket hideout, where grizzled smugglers trade stories of midnight drops, crates of stolen fossils destined for Giovanni's private collection, or venom sacs milked from venomous Zubat swarms in abandoned mines. No cop in Kanto dares investigate too closely. A few have turned up floating in cerulean cape. Badges melted off, a warning etched in the waves. At the heart of this shadow looms the Viridian Gym, its massive doors sealed more often than not. Weeds creeping up the steps like nature, reclaiming a tomb. Only trainers flock there for the Earth Badge, only to find the leader absent, a ghost in his own arena. Rumours swirl like fog off Mount Moon. Who is this elusive figure pulling strings from the dark? Locals speak in hushed tones of a man seen only in silhouette, commanding Persian with a flick of his wrist, his voice a gravelly command that silences rooms. Sightings are rare, a shadow slipping into the gym at dawn, or a luxury limo vanishing into the forest. Some swear he's a myth, a figurehead for lesser bosses like Archer or Proton, but the power radiating from Viridian feels too real, too absolute. You sense it in the way grunts scatter at his name, their bravado cracking like cheap glass. The boss doesn't recruit with promises, he demands loyalty through fear and fortune, his true face hidden behind layers of misdirection. Is he a fallen gym leader, corrupted by ambition? A tycoon masking his empire behind battle credentials? Expeditions into the gym's underbelly. Those foolish enough to try emerge with tales of twisting corridors lined with trophy cases, feathers from legendary birds, shards of meteorites pulsing with otherworldly energy. Whatever his identity, he orchestrates the symphony of theft and torment. His grip tightening as Kanto's heroes remain blissfully unaware, chasing badges while the shadow lengthens. This darkness didn't spawn from nothing, though. To grasp how such a venomous empire took root in a land of harmony, you have to trace it back to surprising origins. Origins that began with honor, not horror. That's where we'll head next in Chapter 2, The Noble Ancestry, uncovering the forgotten heroes who first lit Team Rocket's fuse. But what if I told you that the shadowy oath echoing through Kanto's underbelly once stood for something entirely different? Something heroic, forged in the fires of alliance and defiance. Rewind to 1905 FD, in the rugged coastal haven of Cosmo Point, Tato. Picture the salt-kissed cliffs, rising like ancient sentinels over crashing waves, where the air hummed with the raw pulse of untamed wilderness. Humans had only recently bridged the divide with the ethereal Lunari, those luminous, otherworldly beings who glided through the mists like living constellations, their forms shimmering with an inner glow that mirrored the night sky. Together, they faced a peril that threatened to unravel it all. Team Comet, a ruthless gang of outsiders crashing in from distant horizons, hell-bent on severing the sacred bonds between people and Pokémon. These invaders saw collaboration as weakness, a threat to their vision of domination through isolation. They raided villages under cover of meteor showers, their cloaks billowing like comet tails, snatching Pokémon to fuel their machines of war and forcing humans into fearful solitude. The Lunari, with their psychic whispers and starlit wisdom, sensed the gathering storm first. They reached out to the boldest human settlers, those weathered fishermen and stargazers who knew the sea's fury and the land's secrets. In a clandestine gathering atop Cosmo Point's highest promontory, under a canopy of shooting stars, the pact was sealed. Not with ink or iron, but with shared resolve. A new force would rise to protect the innocent. That force took the name Team Rocket. The founders chose it deliberately, drawing from the explosive poetry of the cosmos. A rocket, they declared, given enough momentum, could shatter a comet speeding toward an innocent populace. It was more than a symbol. It was a promise etched into the organization's crest. A sleek arrow piercing the void, flames trailing like justice unchained. Those early operatives moved like ghosts through the fog-shrouded trails of Tahto, their uniforms crisp black against the moonlit waves, badges glinting with purpose. Humans wielded strategy and steel, while Lunari lent their telekinetic grace, shielding allies with barriers of pure light and unraveling enemy plans with visions from the ether. For nearly 40 years, Team Rocket wasn't just lore, they were legend. They patrolled the jagged shores, dismantling comet hideouts carved into sea caves, where echoes of captured Pokémon cries lingered like ghosts. Villagers whispered tales of rocket agents swooping in on midnight tides, liberating Mewtwo prototypes before they could be twisted into weapons. Their voices steady as they coordinated with Lunari seers who mapped enemy movements across astral planes. Cosmo Point thrived under their watch. Markets bustled with traded treasures, children played freely with Pokémon companions, and festivals lit the nights with fireworks mimicking rocket launches. So revered were they that Hollywood, yes, even in this Pokémon world, spun a spin-off TV series from their exploits. Two-star operatives, a daring human Lunari duo, became household names. Their weekly adventures broadcast to rapt audiences, teaching lessons of unity wrapped in high-stakes chases and cosmic showdowns. You can almost hear the cheers from those grainy screens, the way families gathered around flickering sets, munching on snacks flavoured with rare Tahto berries. Team Rocket symbolised hope, a piercing force against the dark, propelling the vulnerable skyward. Their bases dotted the cliffs like vigilant lighthouses, not dens of vice, but beacons pulsing with encrypted signals to coordinate rescues. Lunari elders wove protective wards into the very stone, ensuring no comet raid could breach their lines. And the Pokémon? They weren't stolen prizes, but willing partners, roaring in unison as rockets launched precision strikes, shattering comet armadas mid-flight. Yet whispers of strain began to creep in, like fog rolling off the Tahto Sea. The human founder, that tireless visionary who had poured his lifeblood into the cause, grew frail. His hands, once steady on the rocket launchers, trembled. His coffers, drained by endless defense, ran dry. Leadership teetered on the edge of a precipice, ready to pass to the deputy governess, a figure whose ambitions simmered beneath a veneer of loyalty. What happened when principle bowed to pragmatism, when the rocket's fire turned inward? As the noble era flickered toward twilight, the stage was set for a seismic shift, one that would redefine Team Rocket forever. In the next chapter, the Madam Boss era, we'll uncover how profit eclipsed protection, twisting heroes into something far darker. Stick around, you won't believe how quickly the stars fell. But as the decades wore on, that shining beacon of resistance in Cosmo Point began to flicker. By the 1940s, the human founder, once a tireless force rallying humans and Lunari against Team Comet's onslaught, found his body betraying him. Years of relentless patrols through Tahto's mist-shrouded streets, dodging comet-like raids, and forging uneasy alliances with wary Pokémon packs, had carved deep lines into his frame. His lungs rattled with the damp fog of the region, and his coffers, drained by the endless cost of arming operatives and rebuilding shattered outposts, ran perilously dry. Whispers spread through the ranks like smoke from a smouldering rocket trail. Supplies dwindled, uniforms frayed at the edges. The founder, propped up in his modest headquarters, overlooking the jagged cliffs of Cosmo Point, called his most trusted deputy to his side. She was known simply as Madame Boss, a governess with a gaze sharp as a Lunari's crescent blade and ambitions that burned hotter than the founder's fading resolve. In a ceremony shrouded by the salt-heavy winds whipping off Tato's shores, leadership passed to her hands. Hands that would soon clench around a very different kind of empire. Under Madame Boss, the air in Team Rocket's halls shifted. The oaths once sworn to protect human Pokémon harmony twisted into something greedier. Patrols that hunted comet thugs now prowled for rare Pokémon in hidden coves, snaring them with nets laced in sedative mist that left the creatures dazed and thrashing. Export ships, disguised as legitimate traders, slipped out under moonless skies, their holds crammed with poached specimens, bound for black market auctions in distant lands. These scams bloomed like toxic weeds, fake resistance badges sold to desperate villagers, counterfeit alliance pacts promising protection that never came. You can almost hear the creak of those wooden docks at midnight, the muffled cries of captured Pokémon echoing against barnacle-crusted hulls, the clink of illicit coins changing hands in fog-veiled alleys. Madame Boss's vision was clear. Profit wasn't just a means, it was the mission. Rockets weren't built to shatter comets anymore. They were fuel to launch wealth into her growing coffers. Operatives who once patrolled with honour now tallied hauls by the crate, their badges glinting under lantern light as they haggled over the price of a shimmering Dratini or a snarling Houndour. The pivot was swift, merciless. Law enforcement dissolved into a mafia's shadow play. Headquarters in Cosmo Point, once buzzing with strategy maps plotting comet ambushes, now overflowed with ledgers, tracking smuggling routes and poaching quotas. Madame Boss strode those halls in silks embroidered with rocket insignias, her voice a velvet command that brooked no dissent. Pokémon for profit, she'd murmur to her inner circle, echoing the old oath but stripping it bare. The glory? That belonged to her now. Not everyone followed blindly. Cracks spiderwebbed through the organisation like fractures in a rocket's hull under pressure. The original operatives, those battle-hardened humans who'd shared rations with Lunari scouts and the ethereal Lunari themselves, with their glowing eyes and unspoken code of harmony, began to slip away. One by one, they vanished into Tato's labyrinthine wilds. A grizzled captain, his arms scarred from a comet skirmish, packed his kit under cover of dawn and left a note scorched by his own hand. This isn't the rocket we launched. Lunari elders phasing through walls like moonlight gathered their young and melted into the ether, their departure marked only by a faint, mournful howl on the wind. The mass exodus hollowed out the core. Meeting rooms echoed emptily. Armories gathered dust. And Madame Boss didn't mourn the loss. She saw opportunity. Recruits poured in from the fringes, the dregs of Tato's underbelly. Thugs with sneers etched permanent. Poachers boasting tall tales of evading rangers. Con artists whose fingers were quicker than a Pidgeot's dive. These were the first criminal grunts, clad in fresh black uniforms, that hung loose on their wiry frames, their eyes alight with the promise of easy coin. Training shifted from tactical drills to heists. How to lasso a slumbering Snorlax without waking it. How to fence a stolen Eevee under the guise of a street vendor. Picture them clustering in dimly lit barracks, the air thick with cheap tobacco and the tang of oiled nets. Laughter replaced the solemn chants of old oaths. Dice rolled across tables scarred by boot heels. Madame Boss moulded them ruthlessly, in pitting grunt against grunt in mock raids, weeding out the weak, loyalty bought with shares of the take, fear enforced by her unblinking stare. Team Rocket swelled, but its soul atrophied, a profit-driven beast slouching toward a new world, hungry and unchecked. This era's rot seeped deep, turning a resistance legend into whispers of infamy. Cosmopoint's villagers, once cheering rocket patrols, now bolted doors at the sound of rocket boots on cobblestones. Yet Madame Boss's empire endured, laying the groundwork for a silver-tongued heir who would elevate its ambitions to world-shaking heights. What cunning words did that successor weave to command such loyalty, transforming grunts into fanatics? That's the intrigue waiting in Chapter 4, The Silver Tongue of Giovanni. As Madame Boss's grip tightened around the syndicate's newfound hunger for profit, her impulsive schemes began to fracture the organization from within, scams unraveling, poachers turning on each other, and whispers of collapse echoing through the shadowed alleys of Cosmopoint. But into this chaos stepped a figure whose words could bend steel. Giovanni, the silver-tongued architect who saw not just a crumbling gang, but the blueprint for an empire. He wasn't born into the streets. Giovanni emerged from old money, whispers say, with a family's faded legacy in rare Pokémon breeding that masked deeper ambitions. Taking the reins in the turbulent years after Madame Boss, he didn't just inherit her corruption, he refined it. Picture the dimly lit back rooms where grunts once brawled over scraps of illicit cash. Giovanni gathered them there, his voice low and commanding, weaving promises of power that silenced the room. "We are not thieves," he'd say, eyes gleaming under the flicker of a single bulb. "We are the future. Pokémon are tools, waiting to be forged into weapons of dominance." With that silver tongue, he transformed ragtag poachers into disciplined operatives, corrupt enforcers into executives with suits tailored sharp as Persian claws. Under his command, Team Rocket shed its sloppy skin. No longer content with street-level scams, Giovanni orchestrated a metamorphosis. He funneled profits into legitimate fronts, casinos disguised as training halls, export firms that shipped exotic specimens under false manifests. You could almost smell the shift, the stale smoke of dive bars giving way to the polished leather and faint ozone of high-stakes boardrooms. He recruited from the shadows of Kanto's elite, pulling in scientists disillusioned by the Pokémon League's regulations, mercenaries from Johto's border wars, even defectors from rival syndicates. Each one bought into his vision because Giovanni made them see it, the world bending to Team Rocket's will, not through brute force but through unassailable sophistication. And at the heart of this duality pulsed his masterstroke, the Viridian City Gym. By day, Giovanni stood as Kanto's revered gym leader, his arena a coliseum of roaring crowds and flashing spotlights, trainers lined up, badges gleaming in their eyes, oblivious to the man before them. He'd battle with calculated precision, his Raidon shattering boulders while he dispensed wisdom on true mastery over Pokémon. The cheers masked everything. The gym's sublevels honeycombed with hidden elevators, descending to vaults of stolen rares, labs humming with forbidden experiments, and war rooms where maps of global expansion unfurled like venomous serpents. This legitimate facade was no accident. It was Giovanni's silver tongue at its finest. Politicians dined at his table, swayed by tales of charitable breeding programs. League officials turned blind eyes, charmed by donations funneled through shell foundations. Even common folk revered him, the stoic leader who embodied Kanto's rugged spirit. Yet beneath Viridian's gleaming badge, Team Rocket's heart beat strong. Grunts posed as gym trainers, scouting talent to kidnap later. Victories funded the underworld. Defeats were alibis for vanished shipments. Giovanni walked that razor's edge daily, bore his public smile, a veil over the Empire's fangs. With this cover secured, expansion became inevitable. Giovanni's gaze turned southward to the mist-shrouded Sevi Islands, a chain of volcanic paradise lost in the sea, far from prying League eyes. There, amid turquoise lagoons and ancient ruins, he planted Team Rocket's first outpost, smugglers' boats sliced through the waves at night, unloading crates of poached corsola and rare Johto imports. Hidden coves became breeding pits, where operatives trained forces in secrecy, the salty air thick with the cries of caged beasts. The island's isolation was perfect, a testing ground for grander designs, supplying Kanto with untraceable resources, while locals spun tales of ghost ships vanishing into the fog. But Kanto demanded a throne room worthy of his vision. Giovanni chose Teledon City first, burrowing beneath the sprawling game corner, a glittering den of slots and shadows where fortunes flipped like coins. Beneath the flashing lights and ringing bells, elevators plunged to a labyrinthine headquarters, steel corridors echoing with the whir of machinery, armories stocked with Pokeballs modified for coercion, and Giovanni's private sanctum overlooking the city he aimed to own. From here, orders radiated outward, raids on Saffron's silos, blockades in Vermilion's ports, each masked as corporate expansions. Yet Viridian called him back, its gym evolving into the ultimate nerve center. Deep under the arena, past blast doors etched with the rocket R, sprawled the true Kanto headquarters. You can almost feel the chill, cool air laced with chemical tang, monitors flickering with surveillance feeds from across the region. Executives like Archer and Proton huddled in war rooms, plotting under Giovanni's watchful gaze. Here, the silver tongue held court nightly, speeches that ignited loyalty, strategies that ensnared rivals. Pokémon flowed in rivers, stolen, auctioned, weaponized. The Empire stretched tentacles into every corner of Kanto, from the rocket hideout in Mahogany's depths to outposts probing Johto's borders. Giovanni's genius lay in the balance, his gym battles drawing crowds that drowned out suspicious noises below, his philanthropy laundering blood money into gleaming towers. Trainers who'd battled him spoke of his intensity, unaware their victories seeded the very machine crushing the wilds. He dined with mayors, debated ethics with professors, all while his network smuggled legendaries through underground rails. The Sevi outpost fed this beast, yet shipping evolved horrors back to Viridian's labs, where the air hummed with unethical promise. This sophistication masked a growing hunger. Grunts whispered of plans beyond profit. World domination etched in every oath sworn below the gym floors. Giovanni's words promised glory, but his eyes burned with something darker. Experiments bubbling in the depths that would push Pokémon to breaking points. And as we descend into those shadowed labs next, prepare yourself for Chapter 5. The Science of Cruelty, where Giovanni's empire unveils the horrifying innovations that turned Pokémon into pawns of pain. Giovanni's empire wasn't built on whispers and shadows alone. It thrived on the cold precision of scalpels and vials, where Pokémon became test subjects in a relentless quest for power. You see, what started as poaching rare specimens and fencing them on black markets evolved into something far more sinister under his watch. Unethical biological tinkering that twisted the very essence of these creatures. Deep beneath the Celadon City game corner, in labyrinthine labs lit by the harsh glow of fluorescent tubes, Team Rocket scientists toiled away from prying eyes. These weren't your wide-eyed researchers chasing cures or evolutions through nature's gentle path. No, these were men and women handpicked for their disregard for ethics, funded by Giovanni's gym winnings and illicit trades. They brewed concoctions that accelerated growth spurts, forcing Pokémon to mature in days what should have taken years, their bodies warping under the strain. Picture a Magikarp thrashing in a shallow tank, his scales flaking as a shimmering purple serum coursed through its gills. Normally this timid fish would spend a lifetime dreaming of flight, but Rocket's potion hit like a thunderbolt, bones elongating, fins hardening into rigid wings in mere hours. Success, they called it, even as the newly formed Gyarados rampaged through containment, its eyes wild with confusion and pain. Dozens like it lined the vats, some bloating unnaturally, others collapsing into lifeless husks, their premature power too much for fragile forms to bear. This wasn't random cruelty, it was calculated evolution on demand. Giovanni demanded weapons, not companions. Pokémon evolved beyond their limits to serve as enforcers in his growing army. The labs hummed with the low whir of centrifuges separating essence from fossils, distilling ancient DNA into injectables that triggered hypergrowth. A lowly Caterpie might swell into a Butterfree overnight, wings veined with unnatural iridescence, but at what cost? The air reeked of chemicals and regret, mingled with the faint, acrid scent of failure, bodies discarded like spent cartridges. Word of these experiments leaked through the underworld, whispered by defectors who'd seen too much. Trainers reported Pokémon behaving erratically, vanishing from routes only to reappear as hulking monstrosities patrolling rocket outposts. But the true horror unfolded in Lavender Town, at the shadow-shrouded Pokémon Tower. What locals knew as a solemn memorial for the departed became Rocket's grim charnel house. Grunts hauled crates of test subjects up those spiralling stairs, near the tower's marble floors slick with fluids from ruptured experiments. Here, in the dim flicker of ghastly lanterns, they pushed boundaries further, potions designed not just for growth, but for spectral mutation. Pokémon on the brink of death were dosed with elixirs meant to revive, only to twist them into vengeful spirits, their essences unbound from flesh. The cries echoed through the night, a chorus of agony that birthed the tower's infamous ghosts. Casualties mounted like unpaid debts. A Marowak, a fierce protector of its young, fought to the last against invading grunts, seeking her Cubone for neural enhancement trials. They pumped her full of growth accelerants, hoping to forge a berserker warrior, but she shattered instead. Bones cracking under forced density, spirit fleeing to haunt the rafters. Her skull, clutched by a trembling child below, became a symbol of Rocket's recklessness. Dozens more followed, Pidgeyflocks overdosed into raging Pidgeot swarms that turned on their handlers, Rattata litters mutating into grotesque Raticate hybrids that gnawed through their own cages. Giovanni toured these facilities personally, his Persian at his heels, appraising the yields like a vintner sampling wine. Progress demands sacrifice, he'd murmur, stepping over twitching forms. Yet even he couldn't ignore the inefficiencies, labs overflowing with failed evolutions, towers teeming with unrestful dead. The potions worked, yes, arming his ranks with prematurely mighty beasts, but the toll eroded morale. Grunts whispered of curses, of Pokémon souls rebelling from beyond. This science of cruelty fueled Rocket's boldest grabs yet. Our legendary birds, Zapdos crackling with stolen thunder, Articuno's icy plumage melting under heat-induced serums, Moltres igniting in forced rebirth, were netted and dosed in hidden aviaries. Their evolutions promised aerial supremacy, wings spanning rooms, but the process left scars, feathers molting in clumps, eyes glazing with premature age. As the body count rose, so did the risks. Lavender's ghosts grew bolder, phasing through walls to sabotage equipment, a spectral backlash to Rocket's hubris. Trainers like you, drawn by rumours, began probing the edges, flickering shadows hinting at deeper atrocities. Giovanni's empire, once failed by his gym's respectability, now pulsed with the rot of its own making. But the pinnacle of their audacity loomed larger still, a clash that would test this twisted science against the unyielding will of Kanto's defenders. In the heart of Saffron City, where psychic forces clashed with Rocket's abominations, the true reckoning brewed. Chapter 6, The Siege of Saffron City, pulls back the curtain on that cataclysm, where potions met mind power and Giovanni's dreams teetered on oblivion. You won't want to miss how it all unravelled. Those forced evolution potions marked a dark evolution in Team Rocket's arsenal, but Giovanni hungered for something far more game-changing, a technology that could ensnare any Pokémon, no matter how wild or legendary, without fail. Sylph Company, in Saffron City held the key. The prototype Master Ball, a flawless capture device whispered about in the shadows of Kanto's research circles. With it, Team Rocket wouldn't just steal Pokémon. They'd command an unstoppable army. Saffron City, once a gleaming hub of commerce and innovation, transformed overnight into a fortress under siege. Black-suited grunts swarmed the streets like locusts, their Raticate and Zubats patrolling rooftops and alleyways. Barricades of twisted metal and flickering psychic barriers, courtesy of captured Alakazam, sealed off the towering Sylph headquarters. Inside, executives huddled in boardrooms, turned war rooms, while scientists trembled at gunpoint, their labs repurposed for rocket interrogations. The air thickened with the metallic tang of fear, and the low hum of generators powering teleportation devices jury-rigged to trap escapees. Giovanni orchestrated the takeover with surgical precision. Elite squads rappelled from helicopters onto the rooftop helipad, smashing through glass atriums in a shower of shards that glittered like fallen stars. Grunts blasted open vault doors with hyperbeams from rampaging Nidoking, seizing blueprints and prototypes amid the chaos. The Master Ball wasn't just a prize, it symbolized total dominion. Imagine holding Articuno in your palm, its icy fury reduced to obedience. No struggle, no escape. Giovanni's vision pulsed through every operative. This sphere would bind the legendary birds they'd already begun hunting, forging weapons of weather and storm to shatter Kanto's defenses. But conquest demanded leverage, and Team Rocket turned to the innocent. Raids struck Pallet Town at dawn, that sleepy birthplace of trainers where Oak's lab stood as a beacon of hope. Grunts dragged families from their homes, mothers clutching Pokeballs, children wailing for their starter Pokémon left behind. These weren't random victims, they were bait, psychological daggers aimed at the heart of resistance. Broadcasts crackled over Saffron's hijacked airwaves. Giovanni's voice, smooth as venom. Bring us the tech or watch pallets burn. Hostages crammed into Sylph's sublevels, their cries echoing through ventilation shafts. A symphony of despair designed to break spirits. Trainers across Kanto froze, torn between fleeing or fighting, as Rocket's shadow choked the region's soul. The kidnappings escalated the terror, turning Saffron into a pressure cooker. Rockets paraded captives through the lobby, forcing scientists to accelerate Master Ball production under duress. Psychic Pokémon amplified the horror, projecting illusions of burning villages into hostages' minds. Wearing down their will, Grunts taunted them with tales of the potions from Celadon's labs, how disobedient Pokémon twisted into monsters, just as resistance would twist them into ghosts. It was warfare without a single shot from authorities. Professor Oak broadcast pleas from Pallet, his voice cracking, urging any brave soul to intervene before the Master Ball armed Giovanni's empire. Word spread like wildfire through underground trainer networks. 3 prodigies answered the call. Red, the silent storm from Pallet. Green, the rival firebrand with a chip on his shoulder. And Blue, the wildcard cousin whose strategies cut like a razor leaf. They converged on Saffron's edges at dusk, shadows among shadows, their teams battle-hardened from badges and badges earned in blood. Red led the breach, his Pikachu frying security grids with thunderbolts that lit the skyline electric blue. Green flanked from the sewers, Arbok coiling through pipes to sabotage generators, plunging floors into strobing darkness. Inside Sylph, the trio carved a path of fury. Elevators became battlegrounds, grunts tumbling into shafts, with screams cut short by Venusaur's vines. Executives fell one by one, petrol smoke screens dispersed by Blue's Golduck's psychic blasts, Proton's snarling wheezing choked out by Green's Charmeleon Inferno. Each floor peeled back layers of Rocket's grip, labs littered with shattered potion vials, holding cells where Pallet captives cheered faintly through bars. The air reeked of ozone and sweat, walls scarred by acid sprays and flamethrowers, as the young trainers pressed upward, momentum unbreakable. Now Giovanni awaited in the summit chamber, the Master Ball prototype gleaming on a pedestal like a forbidden fruit. His Persian lounged at his feet, eyes slits of calculation. The battle raged epic, Rhydon's earthquakes cracking marble floors, Blastoise shells deflecting assaults, but the trio's synergy overwhelmed. Red's Venusaur ensnared, Green's Pidgeot dive-bombed, Blue's Nidoking hammered relentlessly. Giovanni retreated, snarling vows of return, but the Master Ball slipped from his grasp, reclaimed for the light. Pallet's hostages streamed out into Saffron's dawn, hugging saviors amid tears, but victory felt fragile. Rocket's tendrils lingered in Johto's whispers. Giovanni's disbandment, a feint masking deeper schemes. The siege shattered their Kanto stronghold, yet embers of empire smouldered. What cataclysm would finally quench them? I tune in next for Chapter 7, The Fall of the First Empire, where one trainer's ascent ignites the inferno that nearly consumes Team Rocket forever. With Sylph Company in ruins, and the Master Ball slipping through their fingers, the kidnapped citizens of Pallet Town finally freed from their nightmare. Team Rocket's empire teetered on the brink. Giovanni's psychological terror had backfired, drawing the sharpest eyes in Kanto straight to his doorstep, the Viridian Gym, that towering facade of legitimacy where the world's most ruthless crime lord masqueraded as a pillar of the community. You can almost feel the tension thickening in the air of Viridian City that fateful day. Trainers from across the region, hardened by battles against rocket grunts at every turn, converged on the gym like a storm front rolling in. Red bore the silent prodigy from Pallet. Green, the rival with fire in his veins. Blue, carrying the weight of his own unfinished legacy. They led the charge. Their Pokémon scarred from the ordeals at Saffron. The Lake of Rage echoes still fresh in forced evolutions gone wrong. The gym's doors, usually flung wide for badge seekers, now barricaded with steel reinforcements, hummed with the low growl of hidden machinery. Inside, the marble floors echoed with the frantic shuffle of executives barking orders, their black uniforms stained with the sweat of desperation. Giovanni stood at the heart of it all, his Persian at his side, eyes gleaming like polished obsidian. He had built this place as his throne room disguised as a training hall, walls lined with trophy cases of captured rarities, the air heavy with the metallic tang of experimental serums bubbling in concealed labs beneath the arena. But now, as the first challenger breached the perimeter, shattering the outer defences with a thunderous hydro pump that cracked the reinforced glass dome overhead, his empire's fragility laid bare. Grunts poured out in waves, their Zubats swarming like angry hornets, Raticates gnashing with chemically enhanced fury. Yet one by one, they fell. Electabuzz short-circuited by precise thunderbolts, Machops crumbling under seismic earthquakes, the gym transforming into a cacophony of roars, explosions, and the acrid smoke of defeat. Deeper in, the battles escalated into legend. Green tore through the executive gauntlet first, his Blastoise unleashing a torrent that flooded corridors, washing away servers crammed with data on Pokémon trafficking routes from Kanto to Johto. Blue flanked from the shadows, her Pidgeot slicing through drone surveillance with aerial aces, exposing hidden caches of those illicit evolution potions that had twisted so many wild Pokémon into monstrous parodies of themselves. Red pressed forward relentlessly, his Pikachu's lightning arcs illuminating murals of Giovanni's false triumphs. Now scarred by scorch marks, the air grew thicker, choked with the ozone of overcharged attacks and the faint, sickly, sweet residue of failed experiments wafting up from the basements. Finally, they reached the arena's core, where Giovanni awaited, his composure a thin veil over boiling rage. The gym leader's mask shattered in that moment, not just for them, but for the world watching through leaked broadcasts from Sylph's salvaged cameras. Viridian's elite, the mayor, even league officials gathered outside, murmuring as holographic feeds projected the truth. Giovanni, the philanthropist who funded youth tournaments, commanding abductions and vivisections. His Nidoqueen charged first, Earth splitting under her poison sting barrages. But Red's Venusaur countered with razor solar beams, vines coiling like living restraints. Green's Charizard clashed with Giovanni's Raiden, flames licking stone hide until it cracked like thunder. Blue's Alakazam dismantled his psychic defenses, teleporting strikes that left the boss reeling. Giovanni's final stand came with his ace, Persian, a creature forged in the fires of his cruelty, claws dripping with paralytic venom. It slashed through the air, a blur of gold and malice, but the trio's synergy overwhelmed it. A synchronized assault, flamethrower, thunderbolt, psychic, sent the cat Pokémon crumpling, Giovanni staggering back against his own trophy pedestal. The impact toppled cases, rare stones and badges spilling across the floor like confetti from a funeral. In that instant, his public image pulverized. The feeds captured every gasp, every plea from citizens who trusted him, now seeing the monster unmasked. Headlines would scream it for weeks. Gym leader Giovanni, Team Rocket's puppet master. Defeated yet unbroken in voice, Giovanni straightened, his silhouette framed by the crumbling dome, letting in shafts of accusatory sunlight. He addressed the intruders, the feeds, the fracturing remnants of his organization huddled in the wings. Team Rocket ends here, he declared, all words slicing the stunned silence like a shadow claw. I disband it now, scatter all of you. This empire was my vision, and I will not see it rot in lesser hands. No apology, no remorse, just a cold severance, his eyes flickering with something darker than defeat. As grunts exchanged bewildered glances, he turned, cape swirling, and vanished through a hidden panel in the wall, Persian limping at his heels. Into the labyrinthine tunnels beneath Viridian, or perhaps beyond, swallowed by shadows he alone commanded. The vacuum hit like a sudden implosion. Executives like Archer, Proton and Petrol barked futile orders, but loyalty frayed instantly. Grunts, once a disciplined horde, peeled away in droves, some clutching satchels of pilfered Pokeballs, others fleeing empty-handed into the night. The gym's lower levels emptied first, labs abandoned mid-experiment, vats of glowing serum hissing unattended, Pokémon in holding cells gnawing at weakened bars, until they burst free into the wilds. Whispers spread through back alleys. Giovanni's true plan, a feint to purge the weak, or genuine retreat, leaving his underlings to fend for themselves? Power fractured into factions overnight. Some grunts turned informant, trading Rocket secrets for leniency from the League. Others slunk to the Seavey Islands, outposts, salvaging what shipments they could. The air in Viridian hung heavy with abandonment, echoes of fleeing footsteps, the distant cries of liberated Pokémon reclaiming the streets. Giovanni's disappearance fueled endless rumours, hiding in Johto's mists, plotting from a black market fortress, or perhaps lost to his own hubris. Team Rocket's first empire, that meticulously woven web of theft, science and domination, unravelled thread by thread, leaving only ghosts in the machine. Yet whispers persisted among the shadows, tales of executives regrouping far from Kanto's gaze, awaiting a signal that never came, or did it? In Chapter 8, the Johto Resurgence, discover how the embers refused to die, igniting a comeback that would test the world anew. Before we dive deeper into this incredible journey, I'm curious, where in the world are you watching this from? Drop a comment below and let our global community know. And if you're finding this as mind-blowing as I am, hit that like button to help more people discover this story. Giovanni's shocking disappearance left Team Rocket in ruins, his public vow to disband echoing through the shattered halls of the Viridian Gym like a death knell. But for the die-hard loyalists, the ones who called themselves the Remnant, that was no end. It was a call to burrow deeper, to regroup in the shadows, where no trainer's Pokeball could reach them. These survivors, hardened grunts and mid-level operatives who'd tasted the Empire's glory, refused to let the dream die. Whispers spread through hidden safe houses in Kanto's underbelly. Giovanni wasn't gone forever. He was testing them, they told themselves, vanishing to weed out the weak. Packs of black uniformed figures slipped away under cover of night, evading League patrols, crossing the border into Johto's misty hills and fog-shrouded lakes. Johto, with its ancient ruins and forgotten corners, offered the perfect sanctuary, a region still raw from its own Pokémon League struggles, where a criminal shadow could blend into the folklore. You can almost feel the chill of that migration, the crunch of gravel under boots as convoys of stolen trucks wound through mountain passes, headlights dimmed to slits. They carried crates of experimental tech salvaged from Sylph Co's wreckage, vials of those volatile evolution potions, and Pokémon bred in secret labs. Fierce, unstable creatures bred for war. No more flashy corporate bids or gym leader facades. Defeat had stripped away the illusions. This remnant burned with a feral refusal, their R's etched deeper into badges worn under ragged coats. They weren't disbanding. They were evolving, scattering into Johto's wilds like smoke from a dying fire, ready to reignite. In the heart of this fractured exodus rose Archer, the executive whose cold precision had always mirrored Giovanni's own ruthlessness. Tall, with that signature slicked back hair and eyes like polished obsidian, Archer stepped into the void, not by proclamation, but by sheer inevitability. Grunts who once bowed to Giovanni now turned to him in the dim glow of lantern-lit bunkers, his voice cutting through the doubt like a blade. "The boss lives, why," he'd say, his tone laced with unyielding certainty, "and we'll drag him back if we have to scour every cave from here to the Whirl Islands." Archer's leadership wasn't about bombast, it was surgical. He reorganized the remnant into cells, small mobile units that struck fast and vanished. Proton handled the tech scavengers, rigging black market radios into weapons of chaos. Petrol, the slippery one, infiltrated Johto's markets, sowing disinformation to mask their movements. Together, they formed a triumvirate. But Archer held the reins, his strategies born from years watching Giovanni's empire crumble and rise. Every raid, every whispered intel op, circled back to one obsession: finding their lost boss. Scouts combed Unova rumors, chased sightings in distant seas, even tapped into old Lunari networks from the organization's forgotten origins. Was Giovanni in hiding, plotting a comeback, captured by rivals, or had he truly abandoned them? The uncertainty fueled their fire, turning desperation into doctrine. This shift marked a profound evolution in Team Rocket's playbook. Gone were the days of boardroom takeovers and Sylph Cabba sieges, those grand corporate gambits that painted them as titans among thieves. Defeat demanded humility, or at least its guise. Now they embraced the underground, and guerrilla roots that Madame Boss had first glimpsed in her profit-hungry pivot. Operations turned feral, poaching rare Pokémon from Johto's depths, not for open sale, but to fund shadow networks. They hijacked supply lines under moonless skies, their Persian slicing through guards silent as ghosts. Labs relocated to storm-lashed cliffs and sewer warrens beneath Goldenrod City, where the hum of generators mixed with the drip of condensation, birthing new horrors from stolen research. Picture the tension in those hidden outposts, the acrid tang of chemicals in the air. Grunts huddled over maps, stained with coffee rings, debating strikes on League outposts. Archer pushed them harder, his briefings laced with visions of resurgence. Control Johto first, then lure Giovanni back, with a conquered region at his feet. They disrupted trade routes, flooded black markets with bootleg pokeballs laced with trackers, even whispered propaganda into young trainers' ears, recruiting the disillusioned. It was messy, brutal, a far cry from Giovanni's polished empire, but it pulsed with life. Every narrow escape, every cache of gear unearthed, whispered promise. They weren't remnants, they were the spark. Yet beneath the resolve lurked fractures. Some grunts muttered about cutting losses, vanishing into civilian life with pockets full of laundered profits. Others clung to talismans from Kanto days, faded photos of Giovanni mid-command. Archer quelled dissent with swift purges, but the search consumed them. False leads piled up, a sighting in Mahogany Town's snowy peaks, a coded message intercepted from the Orange Islands. Each dead end honed their edge, turning loss into lethal focus. Johto's people began to notice the vanished shipments, the shadowed figures in Ecrutake's dance halls, but the remnant moved like mist, always one step ahead. Their guerrilla tactics bloomed in unexpected ways. No longer reliant on massive bases, they weaponized Johto's terrain. The swirling mists of Belkheim Trail for ambushes, the echoing caves of Dark Cave for echolocation experiments on Zubat swarms. They even co-opted local myths, posing as guardians of ancient towers to extract tolls from superstitious travelers. Archer's masterstroke was decentralizing command. Cells operated autonomously, linked by courier pidget and encrypted bursts from jury-rigged stations. It was chaos theory applied to crime, unpredictable yet unstoppable, a hydra regrowing heads from every severed strike. As whispers of their resurgence spread, the Pokémon League stirred uneasily, but the remnant pressed on, their loyalty a drug more potent than any evolution serum. Archer stood at the nexus, maps sprawling before him in some fog-veiled lair, fingers tracing paths to glory. They would find Giovanni, or forge an empire worthy of his return. But Johto held darker secrets, places where radio waves could twist the very soul of a Pokémon, and one such scheme, at the Lake of Rage, was about to erupt into something unstoppable. That brings us to Chapter 9, the Lake of Rage incident, where Team Rocket's boldest gambit yet unleashes fury on a scale that could drown Johto in chaos. What madness brews in those crimson waters? Stay tuned, you won't want to miss how it all boils over. Under Archer's iron grip, the Rocket remnant didn't waste time mourning their absent boss. They burrowed deeper into Johto's shadows, eyes fixed on Mahogany Town's frozen outskirts, where a hidden base sprawled beneath the Earth's chill crust. You can almost feel the damp air down there, seeping through concrete walls laced with humming machinery as grunts whispered plans that twisted nature itself. Their target was the Lake of Rage, that vast, mist-shrouded expanse just north of town. Picture the water at dawn, glassy and still, dotted with the lazy splashes of countless Magikarp, those scaly weaklings flipping through the shallows, scales glinting like forgotten coins. Team Rocket saw profit in their desperation, a way to forge an army from the discarded. Why chase wild beasts when you could command evolution on demand? Deep in the Mahogany lair, technicians calibrated towering radio wave generators, these sleek antennae pulsing with stolen power from the town's gym. These weren't gentle prods at Pokémon growth. They were assaults, high-frequency blasts tuned to shatter the evolutionary barriers in Magikarp's fragile genes. The waves rippled outward invisibly, threading through the lake bed like electric veins, urging every fish to surge beyond its limits. Grunts monitored from catwalks slick with condensation, their breath fogging the screens as readings spiked. Success would mean fleets of Gyarados, serpentine titans bred for sale to the highest bidder, or unleashed as weapons in Giovanni's name. But nature doesn't bend so cleanly to human whim. As the signals intensified, the lake began to boil, not with heat but fury. Magikarp thrashed in unison, their bodies convulsing, fins tearing as muscle and scale warped overnight. Most emerged as standard Gyarados, coiling behemoths with azure hides and eyes burning red from the strain. Yet one defied the pattern. From the depths roared a monstrosity unlike any other. The red Gyarados, its crimson scales blazing like fresh blood under the sun, fins ragged and thrashing waters into froth. Eyewitnesses in Mahogany spoke of it for years, the lake erupting in a cyclone of spray, The beasts bellow, shaking pines loose from the shore. It wasn't just evolved, it was enraged, a living emblem of violation. Rampaging across the water, hyper beams carving gashes in the earth, it symbolized Team Rocket's arrogance, their terror etched in scarlet against Johto's tranquil wilds. Trainers fled as the creature's wrath painted the horizon in steam and fury, a beacon screaming that some forces demand revenge. Words spread like wildfire through the Pokémon League's veins. Lance, the Dragon Master of the Elite Four, caught wind from scouts patrolling the routes. Cloaked in his signature cape, he slipped into mahogany under cover of night, his Dragonite shadowing silently through the snow-dusted streets. No grand assault, this was precision fury. He infiltrated the base through service tunnels reeking of ozone and oil, boots silent on grated floors, where grunts patrolled oblivious. Deeper in, the air thrummed with the generator's whine, lights flickering as waves peaked. Lance moved like a spectre, Crobat slicing security wires, Dragonite's claws rending control panels in showers of sparks. Alarms wailed too late, executives scrambled, Proton barking orders from a command deck slick with panic sweat. But Lance was relentless, his aerodactyl shattering the core emitters one by one, waves distorting into static bursts that echoed through the lake above. The base crumbled from within, ceilings buckled under overloads, chambers flooding with coolant foam, grunts abandoning posts in the chaos. Lance vanished as swiftly as he'd come, leaving smouldering wreckage and a silenced signal. Above, the red Gyarados subsided, its rage quelled but scar eternal, a glaring accusation against Rocket's hubris. Yet even as Mahogany's underbelly smoked, Archer's network pulsed onward, undeterred. Whispers from Goldenrod hinted at bolder strokes, a takeover that would broadcast their defiance to every radio in Johto. What audacious scheme brewed in those towers, poised to drag the world back under Giovanni's shadow? That's waiting in Chapter 10, the Goldenrod broadcast. With the lake of rage in chaos and that shimmering red Gyarados thrashing against the waves like a living accusation, Team Rocket's remnants knew their time was running out. Lance had struck a devastating blow, smashing their radio wave generators into sparking ruin, but the executives weren't done, not by a long shot. They turned their eyes to Goldenrod City, heart of Johto's communications, where the towering radio tower pierced the sky like a needle threading the clouds. This wasn't some backwater lake hideout. The Goldenrod radio tower stood as Johto's nerve center, broadcasting news, music, and emergency signals to every corner of the region. Its antennas hummed day and night, feeding information to trainers, citizens, and law enforcement alike. For Archer's fractured command, and now the rising voices of Proton, Petrel, Ian and Ariana, it was the perfect stage for their desperate Hail Mary. Control the tower, and they controlled the airwaves, flood the frequencies with a call to their vanished boss, Giovanni. Prove they were still worthy, force his hand. The takeover began under the cover of dusk, when the tower's evening shift buzzed with oblivious staff, adjusting dials and queuing playlists. Team Rocket grunts, dressed in stolen uniforms that hung awkwardly on their frames, slipped in through service elevators. They moved like shadows in the fluorescent-lit corridors, Raiden and Golbat at their heels, ready to crush resistance. Alarms blared too late. Within minutes, the lobby was a war zone of shattered glass and panicked screams. Engineers barricaded themselves in control rooms, but Proton's wheezing belched toxic sludge through the vents, forcing surrenders. Up they climbed, floor by floor, sealing off stairwells with coughing-induced smog that choked the air and burned the eyes. By midnight, the tower was theirs. The executives claimed the broadcast suite at the pinnacle, a glass-walled sanctum overlooking Goldenrod's glittering sprawl. Proton paced like a caged houndoom, his sharp features twisted in fury, barking orders into a communicator. Petrel, ever the sly one with his perpetual smirk, rigged the auxiliary generators to override any external shutdowns. And Ariana, cold, calculating Ariana, with her eyes like polished obsidian, oversaw the encryption of their message. These three weren't the polished lieutenants Giovanni once favoured. They were survivors, hardened by the Kanto collapse, driven by a cocktail of loyalty and raw ambition. Their goal burned clear, a coded broadcast piercing the ether, summoning the boss from wherever he'd vanished. No direct plea that would reek of weakness. Instead, layers of jargon and signals only Giovanni could decipher. Frequencies tuned to his old Silphcoma labs, phrases echoing their oath. Free the power within, for profit eternal. Subtle references to the Master Ball prototypes, the legendary birds they'd nearly harnessed. It was a siren's call, wrapped in static and urgency, beamed across Kanto, Johto, even toward the Sive outposts. The rocket ignites once more, Ariana murmured as she keyed the final sequence, her voice steady despite the tremor in her gloved hands. They hit transmit, and the tower's mighty speakers thrummed to life, hijacking every radio in range. Down below, goldenrod erupted. Trainers rushed the streets, pokeballs at the ready, while police sirens wailed unanswered. Inside, the executives held court amid flickering consoles and cooling fans. Proton unleashed his muck on intruders scaling the outer ladders, the sludge beast dissolving metal rungs in acidic glee. Petrol laughed through the chaos, his coughing fleet screening sniper positions from the upper decks. Ariana commanded the core, her Umbreon prowling the shadows, eyes glowing like fault lines in the dark. They fought not just for control, but for redemption. Every grunt who fell, every barricade breached, whispered the same fear. What if Giovanni never came? What if their empire was truly ash? Hours stretched into a siege. Reinforcements poured in. Elite trainers slipping past grunt lines, battling up through lobby gauntlets and service shafts. The air grew thick with the ozone tang of thunderbolts and the earthy reek of earthquake tremors shaking the foundations. Proton bellowed defiance from the engineering deck, his voice cracking as he drove back a wave of attackers with venomous precision. Petrol, cornered in the archives, unleashed a swarm that blanketed the floors in hallucinogenic haze, buying precious seconds. Ariana made her stand in the broadcast heart, Umbreon at her side, trading blows until the console sparked and smoked, but the message looped endlessly into the void. No acknowledgement crackled back, no familiar baritone cut through the static. Giovanni, ensconced in shadows across the sea, perhaps nursing wounds in a Viridian lair or testing their mettle from afar, remained silent. Was it pride, that unyielding wall he'd built after the Viridian defeat? A disdain for these Johto pretenders, scrabbling without his vision? Or something colder, the calculations of a man who'd already eyed bigger horizons, leaving pawns to burn? The executives pressed on, desperation fueling their last volleys, but the silence hung heavier than the smoke. As the tower trembled under final assaults, their coded plea faded into white noise, unanswered. Team Rocket's Johto gambit teetered on collapse, executives routed one by one, the dream of resurgence slipping through bloodied fingers. Yet whispers persisted, Giovanni stirring at last, drawn by echoes of their folly. What schemes brewed beyond Johto's borders, pulling strings across oceans and regions? That story ignites in Chapter 11, the Global Expansion Initiative, where Team Rocket's reach stretches into uncharted territories you won't believe. As the echoes of gunfire and shattered broadcasts faded from the goldenrod radio tower, Proton, Petrol and Ariana slunk into the shadows, their coded plea to Giovanni hanging unanswered in the airwaves. Team Rocket's Johto dream lay in ruins, executives scattered like ash from a defeated executive's cigar. Yet the organization's pulse never truly stopped. Deep within hidden bunkers, surviving strategists pored over maps of the Pokémon world, their fingers tracing coastlines far beyond Kanto and Johto. They knew stagnation meant death. To survive, Team Rocket had to go global. Giovanni, wherever he lurked in exile, must have sensed the moment, Reports filtered through encrypted channels, a directive from the top, bold and unyielding. No more regional skirmishes. The Rocket Empire would strike outward, planting seeds of chaos in uncharted territories. And who better to lead these pioneering raids than the trio that had become synonymous with the organization's grit, Jesse, James, and their talking Meowth. Demoted time and again for spectacular blunders in Kanto. Reassigned after Johto's collapse, they were the perfect shock troops, relentless, theatrical, impossible to extinguish. Picture them blasting off yet again, this time not in failure, but on a mission of conquest. Their hot air balloon, patched and repainted with that unmistakable red R, drifted over the vast ocean toward Hoenn. That tropical archipelago, with its rugged volcanoes and mist-shrouded gyms, represented virgin ground. No rocket banners had ever fluttered there. Jessie, her hair whipping in the salty wind, clutched a dossier stamped with Giovanni's seal. This time, "We'll build an outpost worthy of the boss," she declared, her voice cutting through the roar of flames from their faulty engines. James, ever the romantic schemer, sketched plans for a submerged base amid the coral reefs, while Meowth dreamed of scratching out a fortune in rare dive Pokémon. Their first foray hit the beaches of Slateport City, where market stalls brimmed with exotic wares, shroomish spores, and winggull feathers fetching prices that made their whiskers twitch. Disguised as travelling performers, the trio infiltrated the shipping yards, aiming to hijack a freighter loaded with Devon Corporation tech. Rockets in lab coats swarmed from hidden compartments in their balloon, nets deploying like spider silk over panicked winggull flocks. They targeted Kyogre relics, whispering of tidal powers that could flood rivals into submission. But Hoenn's trainers were fierce, their water types surging like the region's monsoons. A cadre of local aces, May, Brendan, even wandering coordinators, unravelled the plot. Explosions rocked the harbour as stolen goods sank into the surf, the trio rocketing skyward amid jeers and splashes. Undeterred, they pressed inland, shadowing the Weather Institute, where storm clouds brewed unnaturally. There, amid humming generators and flickering radar screens, they sought to weaponize Castform's transformations, dreaming of weather machines to blanket Hoenn in eternal night. Jessie commanded a squad of disguised grunts posing as meteorologists, their Seviper and Cacturn blending into the foliage. The air grew thick with ozone, rain lashing tents as they tampered with atmospheric controls. Yet alarms blared, Professor Birch's allies descended, torchic flames igniting supply caches. The Institute's defences held, experiments fizzled in the downpour, and once more, the distinctive twang of their motto echoed into the distance. Team Rocket blasts off again! Hoenn slipped through their fingers, a string of botched heists from Rustburrow mines to the volcanic craters of Lava Ridge. Sylph-scope prototypes, smuggled from Kanto, failed against ghostly illusions in Mount. Pyre and their bid for Reggie Guardians ended in cave-ins that buried ambitions under rubble. Each defeat etched the rocket name deeper into local lore. Whispers in Pokémon centres of vanishing shipments, shadowed figures with that Crimson R brand rebuilt, one failure at a time. But Giovanni's vision demanded more. As Hoenn's humid failures mounted, the trio received fresh orders. Pivot north to the icy frontiers of Sinnoh. Snow-capped peaks and aurora-lit skies awaited, a land of ancient myths where Dialga and Palkia slumbered in legend, their balloon-crested blizzards landing amid the crystalline spires of Snowpoint City. Meowth's paws crunched through frost as they scouted Lake Acuity, eyes on the creation trio's rumoured lairs. "This time we snag a legend and the boss promotes us to elites," he muttered, breath fogging the air. Sinnoh's chill tested their mettle. In Veilstone's department store, they orchestrated a smash and grab for evolution stones. Grunts in fur-lined coats, overwhelming security with Arbok hypnosis. The hall was meant to fuel a forced evolution lab beneath the game corner, a churning out powerhouse Pokémon for export. James cooed over glittering dawnstones, envisioning an army of bloated symphonies. But Sinnoh's champions, Dawn, Lucas, Cynthia herself, moved like winter wolves. Gym leaders coordinated strikes, Lucario auras piercing disguises, Garchomp claws shredding mechs. Deeper incursions followed. They infiltrated the distortion world fringes, probing for Giratina's realm with pilfered dimensional devices from Johto remnants. Purple rifts crackled open in Canalave Library's shadows, sucking in tomes and trainers alike. Jessie rallied with dramatic flair, her dust stalks weaving toxic veils over battlefields. Yet the fabric of reality rebelled. Portals snapped shut, spitting them into blizzards. Iron Island's depths yielded nothing but echoes, their drilling rigs collapsing under Rampardo's charges. Even the Spear Pillar summit, where time warped and space bent, saw their legend capture bid thwarted by Cyrus's own machinations overlapping their chaos. Failure after failure in Sinnoh's unforgiving expanse, avalanche-buried bases, Pokémon uprisings in Valley Windworks, botched submarine raids on Sunishore. The trio's theatrics became legend. Motto recitals amid howling gales, mottos broadcast over hijacked TVs in Jubilife. Locals spoke of the rocket pests with wary amusement, but the fear lingered. Shipments diverted, economies rattled, the red R graffitied on icy monoliths. Team Rocket's brand endured, a persistent stain no blizzard could erase. Through it all, that name, Rocket, burned like a fuse. It symbolized not just crime, but unkillable ambition. From Cosmopoint's noble rockets shattering comets to these far-flung flops, which the oath echoed, exploit for profit, conquer for glory. The trio's endless returns, bandaged and boasting, embodied it. Every blast-off sowed seeds for resurgence, proving Team Rocket could weather any storm, any region, any defeat. Yet as these global gambits faltered, darker intelligence surfaced. Rumours of rifts beyond Sinnoh's veil. Timelines fracturing, a Giovanni unbound by one world. What if their scattered empire was merely a prelude to something infinite? That leads us straight into Chapter 12, the Multiverse theory, where Team Rocket's reach twists into dimensions you won't believe. As the scattered remnants of Team Rocket licked their wounds from those botched incursions into Hoenn and Sinnoh, with Jessie, James, and Meowth slinking back empty-handed, yet again, something far stranger began rippling across the Pokémon world. Reports trickled in from the edges of Alola, that tropical chain of islands where the veil between worlds feels thinnest. Fishermen off Melamili Island spoke of the sea boiling without heat, vast swirling portals punching through the clouds like wounds in the sky themselves. These weren't your garden variety storm clouds, or even the wildest legendary summonings. No, these were ultra wormholes, tears in reality that spat out beasts from dimensions unknown, their forms twisting like half-remembered nightmares. You could feel it in the air back then, a subtle hum that set Pokémon on edge from Kanto to Kalos. Wild Pidgey flocks veered into mountainsides, as if their internal maps had glitched. Trainers in quiet towns woke to the sound of their own Pokémon chattering in tongues no Pokédex could translate, eyes glowing with echoes of stars they'd never seen. Reality was thinning, you see, like fabric worn too thin from relentless tugging. In Alola's lush jungles, shadows lingered where no light cast them, and mirrors in abandoned houses reflected faces that weren't yours. Scientists at the Ether Foundation scrambled to seal these breaches, their instruments screeching as they detected multiversal bleed, echoes of other worlds pressing in, hungry for ours. Whispers started among the underground networks, the kind that slither through black market Pokémon trades and dive bar confessions. Team Rocketeers perked up first because who else thrives in the dark? Smugglers hauling contraband Sylph-scope knockoffs claim to have glimpsed figures through those wormholes, silhouettes in crisp black uniforms, emblazoned not with the standard R, but a radiant rainbow insignia. These weren't the ragged grunts you'd expect from our timeline's defeated empire. No, these were victors, marching with the swagger of conquerors who'd crushed every gym leader, every Elite Four, every champion in their path. Rumours painted a Team Rocket that had never tasted true defeat, one where Giovanni's grand war for world domination ended not in Viridian's rubble, but in total triumph. Picture the scene those spies pieced together from fractured glimpses. An alternate Kanto under Iron Rule, Celadon City, a fortress of flashing slots feeding endless coffers, Saffron's psychic towers bent to Rocket's will. In that world, the birds, Zapdos, Articuno, Moltres, weren't stolen prizes but enslaved sentinels patrolling the skies. Giovanni, unbowed and unchallenged, sat atop a throne forged from Mewtwo's rage-frozen tears, his empire spanning regions unchoked by heroes, like red or blue. They called themselves Team Rainbow Rocket, a fusion of Rocket's cunning with colours stolen from every conquered spectrum. Word spread like Voltorb static. This alternate horde wasn't content with their victory. They hungered for more, for every parallel thread in the multiverse's infinite weave. These tales ignited a spark in the remnants' hollowed ranks. Archer, still clinging to his Johto shadows, pored over grainy photos smuggled from Alola, his fists clenched around maps marked with wormhole sightings. Proton muttered about radio waves, pinging back impossible signals, echoes of Giovanni's voice from beyond. Even Ariana, ever the strategist, sensed the shift. This wasn't just another comeback scheme. What had started as regional raids on labs and Pokeballs had ballooned into something existential, a threat that could unravel the very laws binding Pokémon to trainers, humans to their world. Portals flickered wider, depositing crystalline shards that hummed with otherworldly energy, and with each pulse, the line between our fragile reality and theirs blurred further. Grunts in hidden bunkers traded stories late into the night, voices hushed over flickering lanterns. One operative swore he saw Jesse and James, or versions of them, step through a rift, clad in upgraded gear, blasting off not in failure, but in pursuit of fresh conquests. Meowth's Brooklyn drawl echoed from the void, plotting in tongues that bent probability itself. The thinning grew acute in Alola's highlands, where ultra beasts prowled unchecked, their hides shimmering with multiversal iridescence. Trainers banded together, but their Pokeballs faltered, releases stuttering like jammed mechanisms from another era. Team Rocket's old oath, all Pokémon exist for the glory of Team Rocket, suddenly felt prophetic, whispered now with a cosmic edge, as if the stars themselves conspired. And then, the rumours solidified into sightings that chilled even the boldest elite. Scouts reported a massive wormhole over the altar of the Suna, vomiting forth airships painted in rainbow streaks, crewed by faceless elites whose Persian prowled with eyes like fractured prisms. This wasn't theft for profit anymore. It was invasion for eternity. Our world's rocket remnant watched, mesmerised, as their alternate selves demonstrated power unbound, Pokémon evolutions triggered not by stones or trades, but by the raw fury of clashing dimensions. The air crackled with possibility, every breach a promise of what Giovanni might reclaim if he answered the call. The transition was seamless, almost poetic, from scrabbling in Johto lakes and failed Hoenn heists to staring into the abyss of infinite worlds. Regional thugs, once content with gym badges and radio towers, now glimpsed godhood. But what happened when those rifts stayed open too long? When the victor Giovanni didn't just peek through, but stepped across? That question hung heavy as the first true invasion dawned, pulling everything toward the birth of Rainbow Rocket. Those rumours of a Team Rocket that never tasted defeat weren't idle whispers carried on the wind. They were the first tremors of a rift tearing open across realities. in the shadowed fringes of the Pokémon multiverse, where ultra wormholes pulsed like veins of fractured light, an alternate Giovanni stepped through, his world already bent to his will. Picture the scene in that victorious timeline, one where the stars aligned for conquest rather than collapse. Giovanni, unbowed and unchallenged, had crushed every resistance in his Kanto. No red or blue to storm his silos, no lance to shatter his schemes at the Lake of Rage. His empire sprawled unchecked, silos humming with captured legendaries, labs birthing abominations from forced evolutions. Pokémon weren't partners there. They were currency, weapons, monuments to his supremacy. Mewtwo, that psychic titan born from his darkest experiments, stood at his side not as a fugitive creation but as the crown jewel of a regime that profited from every captured tale, every silenced cry. From this pinnacle of power, Giovanni gazed beyond his horizon. Ultra wormholes, those swirling anomalies his scientists had long probed in secret, offered more than escape. They promised expansion. He poured resources into stabilizing them, turning theoretical rifts into gateways. And when the portal finally stabilized, ripping through to our familiar Alola, he didn't slink in alone. No, he arrived at the helm of Team Rainbow Rocket. Their uniforms a riot of colours stolen from fallen foes, black and red slashed with blues, magentas, greens, the badges of syndicates he'd absorb. You can almost hear the hum of the wormhole as it spits them out, a vortex of electric ozone and distant thunder, depositing squads of grunts onto Alolan soil. But Giovanni's genius lay not just in portals, it was in recruitment. He knew conquest thrived on alliances forged in shared ambition. Across the multiverse, he sought out the broken titans, the bosses who'd clawed for domination only to crumble. Archie, the Aqua Zealot whose seas he'd drown in ridicule for failure. Maxie, the magma dreamer whose lands cracked under defeat. Cyrus, Distortion World's architect, pulled from his nihilistic void. Lysandra, Kalos' flamboyant revolutionary, stripped of his ultimate weapon. Even Getsus, that shadowy schemer from Unova, lured with promises of shadows deeper than his own. These weren't prisoners, they were elevated, their egos stroked with new ranks under the rocket banner. Giovanni outfitted them with armies of perfected Pokémon, shiny beasts, mega evolutions unbound by stones, legendaries tamed without mercy. Archie's arsenal swelled with primal Kyogre, and waves crashing in contained fury within spheres. Maxie's Groudon roared with ground-shaking might, continents waiting to rise at his command. Cyrus commanded Dialga and Palkia, time and space twisting to his reformed vision. Lysandra wielded Zygarde's cause, life itself a tool for his beauty through fire philosophy. Getsis, his Hydreigon multiplied, a hydra of deceit. United they formed Rainbow Rocket, not a mere syndicate, but a multiversal horde. Grunts patrolled in patchwork uniforms, Meowth translators chattering battle plans in a dozen tongues, Sylph Company tech fused with stolen Colossian flair, and Hoennian relics powered mechs that dwarfed Caterpie. The air thickened with their presence, a metallic tang of rocket fuel mixed with the salt of conquered oceans, the ash of remade lands. Giovanni's decree echoed through their ranks, broadcast from a hovering command ship piercing Alola's skies, total domination of every world. No longer content with one planet's Pokémon enslaved for profit, he envisioned a cascade of conquests. Invade Alola, seize its guardians, Tapus, Lunala, Solgaleo, then punch through to Kanto, Johto, every region threaded by wormholes. Worlds would kneel, their trainers conscripted or crushed, their legends catalogued in his grand archive. Profit? A footnote. This was apotheosis, Rocket's oath rewritten, all Pokémon, all realities, for the glory of Giovanni. Yet even in triumph, cracks lingered. These allied bosses chafed under his shadow, their loyalties as volatile as a ditto in disguise. Archie grumbled of drowned empires, Maxie of elevated continents. Visions Giovanni tolerated only as long as they served the whole. The multiverse bent. But would it break? As rainbow rockets' banners unfurled over Alola's shores, their first incursions tested this fragile rainbow alliance, setting the stage for an invasion that would scar the islands forever. In the next chapter, the Ultrasun Incursion, you'll witness how these conquerors from beyond clash with defenders who never saw it coming. What happens when wormholes widen and worlds collide in a battle for all existence? I hope you're as amazed by this as I am. If you want to stay updated on more content like this, make sure to subscribe and join our community of curious minds. Trust me, what's coming next will challenge everything you thought you knew. As the shimmering edges of those ultra wormholes stabilized over Alola's sun-drenched skies, Team Rainbow Rocket wasted no time. And this wasn't the scattered remnants of a defeated syndicate. This was Giovanni's vision made real, a perfectly honed machine of conquest pouring forth from a world where Rocket had crushed every opposition. Their first strike targeted the heart of a lowland celebration, Festival Plaza, that vibrant nexus where trainers from across the islands gathered under strings of glowing lanterns, trading battle strategies and rare items amid the salty breeze off Melameli Sea. Grunts in sleek iridescent black uniforms, edged with the prismatic glow of captured Ultra Beast essence, descended like a storm. Explosions of dark energy shattered the plaza's colourful stalls, sending Pokeballs skittering across cobblestones, slick with spilled malasada syrup. Screams echoed as civilians fled, their Pikachu and Cutiefly scattering in panic. To hear while Rocket's perfected Pokémon evolved beyond natural limits, eyes burning with forced obedience, overpowered local defenders. Jesse, James and Meowth, now elevated to elite operatives under this multiversal banner, led the vanguard, their Wobbuffet reflecting attacks back at stunned Alolan aces. Within hours, the plaza's central fountain ran black with oily coolant from deployed mechs, its waters choked by writhing chains of captured Buzzwole and Pheromosa. Banners of the Black R unfurled from every archway, proclaiming Rocket's dominion over joy turned to ash. But Festival Plaza was merely the gateway. With Alola's communications crippled and panic rippling through the islands, Rainbow Rocket's gaze fixed on Ether Paradise, that floating sanctuary of white spires and lush conservatories, any once a haven for wounded Pokémon under the watchful eye of Lusamine. Drones swarmed its pristine docks like metallic nihiligo, injecting paralytic toxins into the air vents. Elite grunts repelled from commandeered Salazzle gliders, blasting through reinforced glass with hyperbeam amplifiers tuned to ultra frequencies. The Paradise's staff, caught off guard amid their caregiving routines, watched in horror as habitats shattered. Comfy beds trampled, type, null prototypes seized for reverse engineering. Giovanni himself oversaw the metamorphosis. From his alternate throne room, teleported via wormhole rift, he issued commands with the cold precision of unchallenged rule. Ether's core reactors, originally designed for ecological restoration, were ripped open and reforged. Massive conduits snaked through the corridors, pulsing with violet Ultra Beast plasma, harvested from writhing captives, Kartana slicing at their own containment fields in futile rage, circuitry's tendrils siphoned dry to fuel the forges. The once serene halls echoed with the grind of assembly lines, Silvally chassis fused with Guzzlord hides for armoured juggernauts, Beware claws grafted onto machine limbs for living battering rams. Ether Paradise ascended not as an arc of life, but as Rocket's unbreakable fortress, its outer hull plated in shimmering Regigigas-derived alloy, laser turrets scanning the horizon for intruders. Searchlights pierced the perpetual twilight of wormhole distortions, casting long shadows over the waves far below. This was no mere occupation, it marked Rocket's greatest technological leap. In their home universe, Giovanni had cracked the code of Ultra Beast energy long before Alola's kahunas even whispered of wormholes. Now, That forbidden power coursed through their war machine. Imagine the hum of generators deep in Ether's bowels, where nihiligo cores were vivisected to extract neurotoxins for mind control serums, turning wild Pokémon into unwitting legions. Pheromosa's speed essence supercharged jetpacks, allowing grunts to outpace even Tapu Guardians. And the crown jewel, the Rainbow Rocket Cannon, a colossal bore powered by a stabilized Celesteela husk, capable of punching stable wormholes to summon reinforcements from conquered dimensions. Engineers clad in hazmat suits, slick with otherworldly ichor, calibrated the flows, energy yields tripling natural limits, weapons firing beams that warped reality itself, yet phasing through shields like mist through fingers. Alola's Pokémon League tech paled, Tapu Koko's electric fury fizzled against fields laced with Stakataka stone. Word of the incursion spread like wildfire through the archipelago. Trainers rallied, Hao with his loyal Decidue, the player character wielding a championship team forged in island trials, even Lily emerging from hiding with her reclaimed family bonds. They converged on the fortress under cover of night, the air thick with ozone and the distant roar of wormhole thunder. Barriers of electric webs and prowling Celesteela drones tested their resolve, but cracks formed. Inside, the assault turned brutal. Corridors slick with synthetic blood, sparks flying as Lycanroc clashed with reprogrammed type. Nulls. At the pinnacle, in Ether's commandeered observatory, stood the perfect Giovanni. Taller, sharper, his suit immaculate black, threaded with ultra-prismatics. A Persian at his side, evolved to grotesque perfection. Claws like scythes, eyes voids of loyalty unbound. He lounged on a throne of fused ether thrones, holographic displays flickering with multiversal conquests. Fools, he sneered as the trainers burst in, portals swirling behind him like captive storms. In my world, your legends kneel. Witness true dominion. His Mewtwo, cloned not once but iterated across realities, unleashed psionic tempests that buckled the chamber walls. Battles raged in flashes. Pikachu's Volt tackle shattering psychic barriers. Primarina's song disrupting control fields. Incineroar's revenge. Inferno's melting drone swarms. Yet cracks spiderwebbed through Giovanni's perfection. Alola's spirit, wild, or unbreakable, fueled counterstrikes. Ultra beasts, sensing kin in torment, rebelled from within, tentacles lashing at handlers. The fortress shuddered as wormholes destabilized, spewing backlash rifts. Giovanni's facade cracked. For the first time, doubt flickered in those iron eyes. He retreated through a final gate, vowing return, but the tide had turned. Festival Plaza smoldered in reclaimed hands. Ether's spires scarred but liberated, the ultra energy siphoned back into volatile slumber. As the dust settled and Alola breathed uneasy relief, whispers turned to the foot soldiers who made this nightmare possible. The endless grunts, their motivations buried under layers of indoctrination and fear. What drives a soul to pledge to such darkness? Next, we delve into the psychology of the grunt, uncovering the fragile minds behind the black R. As Ether Paradise pulsed with the raw, otherworldly energy of captured ultra beasts, fueling Giovanni's vision of multiversal conquest, you have to wonder about the hands turning those dials, the boots marching through the corridors, the voices chanting the oath in dimly lit bunkers. Thousands of grunts, faceless and fervent, kept the machine alive, even after every public catastrophe painted Team Rocket as the world's biggest joke. Those defeats weren't subtle. In Kanto, Red stormed the Sylphcumber Tower, broadcasting their takeover to every screen in Saffron City before dismantling it floor by floor. Johto's Lake of Rage scheme ended with Lance blasting their radio towers into scrap metal, the grunts scattering like startled Rattata. And now, this incursion into Alola, Festival Plaza overrun, Ether turned fortress, Yet another headline screaming failure across the regions. Gym badges revoked, leaders vanished, plans in ruins. So why do they keep coming? Why do fresh recruits still shave their heads, don the black uniforms, and swear to steal Pokémon for profit, exploit them for glory, when the world laughs at every flop? It starts with the man at the top, Giovanni. Walk into any Rocket hideout, from the Celadon Game Corner's secret casino to the Mahogany Town Gym's underbelly, and his face stares down from posters, murals, even etched into the walls. Not just a boss, but a god emperor in pinstripe suits. Persian at his heel like a living scepter. Grunts don't join a syndicate, they join him. His speeches, broadcast on hijacked frequencies, promise more than crime, they promise transformation. In Team Rocket, he'd rumble, all voice like grinding gravel. The weak become strong, the forgotten seize empires. It's a cult of personality, forged in the fires of his gym battles, where he crushes challengers, not with brute force, but with that cold, calculating stare that says he owns the earth itself. You feel it in the air of those bases, the dim red lights flickering over bunks stacked 3 high, the hum of stolen generators, the scent of instant ramen and gunpowder. A grunt fresh off the street, maybe a down-on-his-luck trainer from Vermilion's docks or a Johto factory worker ground down by league regulations. Here's the recruiters whisper about Giovanni's inner circle. Executives like Archer, with his silver hair and sniper's precision, or Proton, the poison master who poisons rivals before breakfast. They dangle the dream, wealth pouring from poached Lapra shipments, power from rare Cubone helmets, sold on black markets. One big score, and you're set for life. Mansions in the CV Islands, Pokémon armies at your command. No more scraping by in a world where league elites hoard the glory, but peel back the posters, and reality bites harder than a primeape. Most grunts cycle through in months, sent on suicide runs against twerp trainers half their age, dodging Pikachu thunderbolts in the Viridian Forest or fleeing Officer Jenny's on the back of commandeered Pidgeot. Pay? A pittance in poker dollars, funneled straight back into gadgets that explode on first use. Power? Your cannon fodder screaming, "Prepare for trouble," while the real players sip champagne in Celadon's penthouse. Yet they stay. Why? Because Giovanni's myth is sticky. He vanishes after defeats, only to return stronger, a phoenix in a world that worships winners. Grunts tell themselves they're part of that legend, that one day he'll notice their loyalty, promote them past the uniforms into the elite. It's the sunk cost of devotion. The more you lose for him, the harder it is to walk away. No one embodies this tragic cycle better than the recurring trio, Jesse, James, and their talking Meowth. They're not just comic relief, they're the Empire's battered heart, victims of its endless grind. Jesse, born Musashi in the rough sprawl of Snowpoint City, or maybe a foster kid shuffling orphanages, accounts blur, but the scars run deep. She joined dreaming of glamour, of strutting stages like a diva with an Arbok coiled around her waist. James, heir to a bicycle empire that could have bought Kanto twice over, had fled a suffocating life of arranged roses and teacups, trading silk for spandex because Team Rocket promised freedom, not fiancés. Meowth, a street gutter stray who learned human speech for love, only to get scratched for his troubles, clawing his way up on wit and payback schemes. Watch them blast off again and again, rockets fizzling over Cerulean Cape, mechs crumpling under Ash's sneaker. Public failures, everyone. The bike gang flop in Hoenn, the Sinnoh submarine sinking off Sunnyshore. Yet they rise, motto intact, because Giovanni's shadow looms large. He assigns them the fringes, Unova outposts, Kalos whispers. Knowing their failures, rebuild the brand through sheer persistence. They're the grunts who never quit, trapped in a loop where loyalty equals beatings from bosses and badges. Jessie screams at mirrors, furious at her roots. James pines for his Growlithe. Meowth mutters about lost loves. But peel away the bluster, and it's Giovanni's promise holding them. Wealth glimpsed in stolen jewels, power in near misses against legends. Victims, yes, but willing ones, because leaving means admitting the dream was dust. This psychology infects every level. Lower grunts idolize the trio like fallen stars, mimicking their poses in mess halls, convinced their own big break waits beyond the next twerp. Executives like Ariana enforce it with pep talks laced in threats, reminding them Giovanni's return hinges on unwavering faith. Even in Johto's leaderless days, when Archer plotted radio coups, grunts whispered his name, like a prayer, spray painting arse on ruins as offerings. It's a feedback loop of delusion. Public shame fuels private zeal. Failures reframed as tests of worthiness step into a grunt's mind mid-mission, heart pounding as you herd stolen magnemite through Rustborough tunnels. The world calls you villains, but inside, you're revolutionaries. Giovanni's vanguard against a league that gatekeeps strength. Wealth, those crates of fossils will fund your escape. Power, one day you'll command a Gyarados like his. The cult blinds them to the body count. Pokémon twisted in labs, operatives vanishing in failed evolutions. They see glory in the grind, empire in the empire's shadow, and it works in a twisted way. Without these grunts, no Sylph takeover, no Lake of Rage waves warping wills, no ether engines humming with Ultra Beast fury. They're the glue, the fanatics who turn a crumbling syndicate into a persistent plague. But cracks show, defections after Red's rampage. Whispers in bunkers about Madam Boss's old scams, the founder's noble ghost haunting faded murals. Still, Giovanni's allure pulls them back, a siren's call over failure's roar. As the dust settles from Alola's incursions, with grunts nursing wounds and plotting returns, you sense the real engine humming beneath, the innovations that turned pipe dreams into near realities, the gadgets and experiments that kept hope alive amid the blasts. In our next chapter, Chapter 16, The Technological Legacy, we'll uncover those forbidden blueprints that powered an empire's wildest gambles and how they echo even now. While grunts chase the dream of wealth and Giovanni's favour, something far more intoxicating drew the real architects of Team Rocket's empire. The promise of rewriting nature itself through science unbound by morality. You can almost hear the hum of those hidden generators deep underground, where flickering fluorescent lights cast long shadows over steel tables slick with experimental fluids. This was no mere theft ring. It was a forge for weapons that blurred the line between Pokémon and God. At the heart of it all pulsed the Mewtwo project, Team Rocket's audacious bid to engineer the ultimate predator. Picture the sterile vaults beneath Cinnabar Island's volcano, where scientists in crisp white coats, recruited from the shadows of academia with offers no university could match, cloned the mythical Mew. They didn't just copy its DNA, they amplified it, splicing in genes from every known powerhouse Pokémon, from the raw fury of Gyarados to the psychic dominance of Alakazam. The goal? A being of unparalleled strength, a loyalty programmed from the cellular level, a living apocalypse on a leash for Giovanni's conquests. But creation came at a cost that echoed through those lava-heated halls. Infant Mewtwo, writhing in its nutrient vat, shattered the psychic barriers meant to contain it, its cries a psychic screech that drove technicians mad, rippling through the rock like an earthquake's prelude. They pumped it full of suppressants, evolutionary accelerators, anything to stabilize the monster they birthed. When it finally emerged, towering and violet-skinned, eyes glowing with stolen intelligence, the project wasn't about profit anymore. It was about perfection, a Pokémon that could level cities, bend minds, and outmatch any champion, all while swearing allegiance to the R logo branded into its very essence. That same ruthless ingenuity spilled into their forced evolution programs, turning wild Pokémon into twisted parodies of power. In Kanto's hidden labs, they brewed potions from rare berries crushed under hydraulic presses, laced with chemicals, distilled from meteorites and fossilized remains. Drip these into a Magikarp's gills and it thrashed through Mega Evolution, overnight, scales cracking like thunder as it bloated into a Gyarados too unstable to control, rampaging through containment fields, flooding corridors with saltwater fury before they gassed it down. You can smell the acrid tang of those elixirs even now, the way they burned through rubber gloves, promising bosses but delivering berserkers. By the time Team Rocket slunk into Johto, leaderless but unbowed, they'd refined the horror. At the Lake of Rage, its massive radio towers pierced the mist-shrouded waters, broadcasting waves tuned to Pokémon DNA frequencies. Magikarp by the thousands convulsed on the surface, their bodies forcibly unraveling and reforming into Gyarados hordes. Red-eyed behemoths that turned the lake crimson with their frenzy. Lance's rage shattered the arrays, but not before the signals leaked, warping local ecosystems. Kadabra evolving prematurely into a Lakazam with fractured psyches, their spoons bent into weapons they turned on their trainers. This wasn't isolated madness, it was a blueprint, smuggled out on data drives and whispered to sympathizers across regions. Team Galactic scooped up the remnants, their Cyrus twisting Rocket's cloning tech into something cosmic, fusing Dialga and Palkia's essences in Sinnoh's Spear Pillar labs, chasing not just weapons but new universes. You see the fingerprints, the nutrient vats repurposed for legendary replication, the psychic stabilizers now corralling time itself. And in Kalos, Lissandra's Team Flare took it further, weaponizing the data for their ultimate cannon, a beam powered by Xerneas life force, evolved Eviltoll swarms, blotting out the sun. Rocket's equations on DNA acceleration formed the core of Flare's revival matrix, pulling extinct Pokémon from ash to serve as disposable artillery. The scars linger in the wilds you tread as a trainer today. Forced evolutions destabilized bloodlines. Rogue Gyarados pods still terrorize Johto coasts, their offspring born with potion-warped fins that slice through hulls like paper. Underground breeders peddle black market boosters, turning your loyal Eevee into a jittery Umbreon that bolts at shadows, its coat mottled from incomplete shifts. Forests in Kanto whisper of ghost evolutions, Haunter that never became Gengar, trapped in limbo, haunting ruins where rocket silos once stood. The Pokémon League logs surges in mutations, Pikachu birthing Pichu, with thunderbolts too potent for their frames, collapsing under the strain. Nature fights back, but slowly, with rangers culling herds tainted by those old waves, wondering if the next storm hides a rocket revival. Even Rainbow Rocket's Multiverse incursion owed its edge to this legacy. That alternate Giovanni didn't conquer worlds with grunts alone. He wielded Ultra Beast reactors supercharged by Mewtwo's clone cells, portals humming with the same evolutionary static that once boiled lakes. Grunts whispered of it in Johto bunkers, fueling their fanaticism, not just for gold, but for the day they'd pilot these abominations themselves. Yet for all its brilliance, the tech betrayed them, birthing rebellions in vats and psyches too vast to chain. Mewtwo's escape wasn't failure, it was the first crack in the Empire's foundation, a shadow lengthening towards something final. What became of those final blueprints, the ones Giovanni clutched as he vanished into the ether? That's the vanishing act we'll unravel next in Chapter 17, the final disappearance, where the last whispers of Rocket fade, leaving only questions that chill the night. While the echoes of the Mewtwo project reverberated through the labs of future villains, casting long shadows over groups like Galactic and Flare, the real cataclysm unfolded right there in Alola, where Team Rainbow Rocket's multiversal ambitions reached their breaking point. In the heart of Ether Paradise, now a throbbing fortress of stolen Ultra Beast energy, the alternate Giovanni stood unchallenged for a fleeting moment. This wasn't the Giovanni you'd known from Kanto's gyms or Johto's radio towers. No, this was the victor from a shattered timeline, the one who crushed the champions, harnessed Mewtwo without remorse, and bent legendary Pokémon to his will like tools in a factory. His rocket uniform gleamed under artificial lights, embroidered with rainbow insignias that pulsed like wormholes themselves. He'd gathered the broken kings of crime, Maxi, Archie, Cyrus, Getsis, under his banner, promising them worlds beyond their failures. But as the wormholes tore open wider, spewing distortions across Festival Plaza, the champions closed in. You can almost feel the humid, Alolan air, thickening with ozone, the ground trembling as Necrozma's warped light clashed against the rocket machines. Ultra Guardians, trainers from every corner of the globe, stormed the paradise. House Decidue sliced through grunt lines with razor leaves that whistled like lost souls. Gladion, haunted by his own ether scars, unleashed Silvali's multicoloured beams, shattering containment fields. And at the core, the player, you, in that moment, faced Giovanni across a chamber, alive with flickering portals. His Persian snarled, eyes glowing with enhancements from forbidden experiments. But even that beast faltered against the bond of trainer and Pokémon forged in pure defiance. Giovanni's laugh echoed off the crystalline walls, bitter and unyielding. "Fools," he spat, "you think this ends here? I've seen infinities where Rocket rules eternal." His defeat came not in a single blow, but in the unravelling of his empire. Executives fell one by one. Faber's tech wizardry short-circuited by Empoleon blasts. Plumeria's Salazzle overwhelmed by fire that turned her own poisons against her. The Ultra Beasts, those eldritch invaders he'd weaponized, turned feral as their energy cores destabilized, rampaging through the halls in a symphony of shrieks and shattering glass. As the final wormhole destabilized, Giovanni activated his escape. Not a retreat, but a leap. He vanished into a rift of his own making, Persian at his heels, slipping through the veil into the infinite multiverse. Legends whisper he emerged in some distant reality, perhaps one where Kanto never knew a red, or Johto's lakes rage unchecked. There he rebuilds, seeding cells with promises of profit across endless timelines. No capture, no trial, just disappearance into the void. The wormholes sealed behind him, leaving Alola scarred but standing, Festival Plaza's lights flickering back to life, like stars reclaiming the night sky. Back in the core regions, the collapse rippled outward like a shock wave through stagnant waters. Kanto's Viridian Gym sat hollowed out. Its underground maze collapsed under the weight of unfinished experiments, vials of forced evolution, serum bubbling in the dark, forgotten Raiden skeletons guarding empty vaults. The rocket hideout beneath Celadon City, once buzzing with poachers and smugglers, echoed with the drip of leaking pipes. Grunts scattered, some turning informant for the League, others melting into Saffron's crowds, peddling black market fossils from Silphco's ruins. Johto fared no better, or perhaps worse, leaderless once more. The Lake of Rage hideout, site of those radio wave atrocities, lay in smouldering ruins, its generators twisted metal, haunted by the ghosts of mutated Goldeen flopping in shallow pools. Goldenrod's radio tower, scarred from the takeover, broadcast only static for weeks, until Pokémon League signals reclaimed the airwaves. Archer, Proton, Petrel, the executive trio, vanished into the Mistralton winds. Their ambitions snuffed like candles in a storm. Scattered cells lingered in Mahogany Town's shadows, whispering of Giovanni's return, running small scams, counterfeit badges, stolen rare candies hawked in back alleys, but without the boss's iron grip, because they frayed in fighting over meagre profits, defections to less ambitious gangs. Profit, after all, is the most resilient poison. Team Rocket wasn't built on ideology or conquest alone. It was commerce, raw and adaptable. Steal a Pidgey here, poach a Cubone there, and the coins flow eternal. Can such an organisation ever truly die? History argues no. After the first disbandment, cells reformed in Johto's wilds. Post-Mewtwo, remnants funded the radio schemes. Even now, post-Rainbow Collapse, whispers persist. a grunt in Vermilion Port fencing Lapras hides, a Johto operative rigging battles for betting rings. Eradication demands killing the dream of easy wealth. And that's a phantom no champion can lasso. The League patrols thickened, rewards for rocket sightings tripled, but the underbelly thrives in silence. On Kanto's cells dwindled to ghosts, operating from abandoned power plants where magnemite sparks light their deals. Johto's fragmented further, splintered into freelance crews chasing the next big score, a shiny Eevee heist, a fossil revival scam. Yet the oath lingers on hidden walls. All Pokémon exist for the glory of Team Rocket. Profit doesn't dissolve, it metastasizes. And as these embers smoulder, unseen forces stir in the darkness, ensuring Rocket's shadow stretches far beyond any single defeat. Tune in next for Chapter 18, The Eternal Shadow, where we uncover the unbreakable remnants that refuse to fade, pulling even heroes into their web. Sleep tight, trainers, the Empire's fall was just the beginning. Even as the alternate Giovanni vanishes into the swirling chaos of the multiverse, his escape leaves behind a fractured empire, scattered cells in Kanto and Johto, whispering plans in hidden bunkers beneath Celadon City and Mahogany Town. These remnants, leaderless yet unyielding, flicker like dying embers in the night, a testament to an organization that refuses to fade. But to grasp why Team Rocket endures, why their shadow stretches across generations, we must trace it back further, to the very dawn of their story, over a century ago. In the year 1905, under the fictional dating of the FD calendar, Team Rocket wasn't born in smoke-filled lairs, or with oaths of domination. No, it ignited as a beacon of hope in Cosmopoint Tato, a coalition forged between humans and the ethereal Lunari, those moon-touched beings who walk the line between worlds. Picture the dusty streets of that frontier town, where outsiders calling themselves Team Comet rampaged against the fragile harmony of humans and Pokémon. Rockets, they named themselves, drawing from the raw poetry of propulsion. A single rocket, fueled by unyielding momentum, could shatter a comet, hurtling toward the innocent. For 40 years they patrolled those shadowed alleys, upholding law where chaos reigned, their uniforms crisp symbols of justice. Children cheered their parades, and even a spin-off television series immortalized two operatives as folk heroes, their exploits broadcast into homes across the region. Those were the golden decades when Team Rocket stood as guardians. Their ranks swelled with idealists who saw Pokémon not as tools, but as partners in defiance. The air hummed with the cries of rescued beasts, the scent of gunpowder from skirmishes won against Comet's thugs. Yet nobility has a fragile shelf life. When the human founder, weary from wounds and emptied coffers, could no longer lead, the mantle fell to his deputy governess, Madame Boss. She stepped into the light with eyes gleaming not for justice, but for the glint of coin. Profit became her creed, twisting the organization's veins, like ivy overtaking a temple. Under her gaze the mighty fell. Illegal Pokémon exports flooded black markets from Kanto to distant shores. Rare specimens poached from mist-shrouded peaks and coral depths. Scams bloomed like poisonous flowers. Fake badges peddled to eager trainers. Counterfeit evolution, stones crumbling to dust in desperate hands. The original operatives, human and Lunari alike, slipped away into the night, yet their consciences too heavy for the gathering rot. Madame Boss built an empire on betrayal, her laughter echoing through warehouses stacked with caged dreams. This was the pivot, the fracture point where heroism curdled into avarice, seeding the criminal syndicate we know. Decades later, Giovanni inherited those poisoned roots, elevating them skyward. As Viridian gym leader by day, he masked his throne in the Sylph Conta Tower, where screams of experimental Pokémon mingled with the whir of machinery. Cruel serums forced evolutions too soon, feathers molting prematurely on captured legendaries, Zapdos thrashing in electrified nets, Articuno's icy breath frosting steel bars. Kidnappings from Pallet Town fueled their gambit. Hostages bartered for silence as red, green and blue stormed the gates, ice-shattering executives like glass under boot heels. Defeat came. Giovanni disbanded them in a haze of smoke, but dissolution was a lie whispered to the wind. Johto proved their resurrection without a king. Grunts huddled in the Lake of Rage's secret lair, radio waves pulsing like a heartbeat, warping Pokémon into monstrous forms. Archer commanded the shadows, Proton and Petrel his iron fists, seizing the Goldenrod radio tower in a broadcast of terror. Lance's dragonfire quelled the storm, but the embers spread, branches sprouting in Sinnoh under the bumbling yet relentless trio of Jesse, James, and Meowth, dispatched by Giovanni himself after their fiascos in Hoenn. From Cosmopoint's righteous rockets to multiversal conquerors in Ultra Sun and Moon, theirs is a 100-year arc bending from saviors to cosmic tyrants. Heroes who once pierced comets now pierce realities. Ultra wormholes torn open to harvest worlds. Ether paradise warped into a fortress of otherworldly energy. Team Rainbow Rocket, that alternate horde under a victorious Giovanni, gathered fallen titans. Cyrus Getsis, Lysandra, under the rocket banner. Their war machine devouring dimensions for ultimate dominion. This evolution resonates like an original sin, staining the Pokémon world itself. Team Rocket didn't just corrupt, they embodied the fall, the first temptation whispering that Pokémon exist for glory, for profit, for subjugation. In their oath etched on every base wall, steal Pokémon for profit, exploit Pokémon for profit. All Pokémon exist for the glory of Team Rocket. Lies the primordial lie, echoing Eden's serpent. Every syndicate since Plasma's hollow liberation, Galactic's god-making hubris, Flare's fiery purge, traces back to this shadow. Their technologies borrowed from Rocket Labs, their ambitions inflated from Rocket Dreams. The Mewtwo Project's cloned fury birthed an arms race across regions. Forced evolutions haunted Lake of Rage long after the waves silenced. They are the archetype, the cautionary fracture in humanity's bond with these wondrous creatures, proving power's pull warps even the purest intent. Yet here's the unyielding truth. Team Rocket will always return. As long as profit gleams in the dark, as long as rare Pokémon roam untamed wilds, and desperate souls crave wealth or dominion, their shadow regenerates. Kanto Cell's plot in Viridian's underbelly, Johto whispers carry on radiostatic ghosts. Giovanni's disappearance, alternate or not, is merely intermission. Like the rocket reignites, hurtling toward the next horizon, because in the Pokémon world, avarice is eternal and comets still fall. What did you think of this journey? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If this changed your perspective or taught you something new, consider subscribing for more mind-expanding content. And if you know someone who would find this as fascinating as you did, share it with them. These are the kind of conversations that matter.